Welcome to the tutorial. So biggest thing, I wanted to show the code base in the repository. If you ever get views on bits of code, I've left all the branches with each episode's code with each episode. So obviously part one is episode 0 of code, but part 2 is going to be episode 1 of code. So the very first episode of code, and I try to reference it, but just keep an eye on that if you need help with any confusions. All the code is here with every step of the way. Throughout the tutorial, there was one part where we redefined the code schema a little bit just to lighten up the load and kind of lighten up the form. But basically, this is what we're building is a application with some modals, and then you could also see an input form with validation and things like that. So it's a simple build, but it's a proper build from front to back end with validation. Or we're using SQLite for the database, and wanted to make sure that you guys are well equipped with the tools to make it through the entire tutorial. So take your time with it. Try to run through stuff, problem solve, and as I mentioned many times, is run through that tutorial many times, because the more you do it, like your brain will start to make the connections a little bit easier every time. And that's the best way I've learned software personally, is just running through things many times until I could do it like back of my hand. So I'd highly recommend doing it multiple times. And here are the tools to make sure that you guys are well equipped. The code base is in the description. And come to this little icon right here where the branches are to go through the branches you need. Alrighty, guys. So we've kind of gone over our game plan. I have it pulled up right over here to the side. That was episode 1. So let's slide into building this. Let's focus on predominantly setting up the Next.js repository. So I'm gonna open up my terminal. Guys, let me zoom in a smidge for y'all. I'm on this huge screen, so hopefully you guys can see a little bit better. So npx creates app at latest /. And what this is going to do, this is just our create Next.js command. We're going to get all of our config options. It should pull up. Do we want to use TypeScript? Absolutely. Do we want ESLint? Sure, why not? CSS, source directory, no. App router, yes. Import alias, no, thank you. And it should set up our Next.js application, as you can see. So while it's downloading, let me just kind of give a brief overview of Next.js. So we don't really have to set up a router, which is beautiful. We just put our folders in the app directory, and this will be our pages, and our routing already is going to be pre-configured for us. Next.js has an abstraction layer where it knows all the routing for us. So you can see if I close this and close the terminal for now, here's our page.tsx. This is going to be our home page. We'll pull that open here in a moment. We have our ESLint config. We have our public file where we could do some of our SVG stuff, maybe any public media that we need to show to the client would go there. We have our Next.js config, our package.json where we could do any of our scripting commands, our Tailwind config. Those are pretty much in our TypeScript config as well. Those are going to be basically our biggest things, but we're largely going to spend majority of our time in this app directory. So now that our Next.js file is downloaded, let's go ahead and npm run dev. And today, let's just talk about what we want to build. So as mentioned before on episode 1, we want to build a kind of 3-page thing. I imagine is going to be more than adequate. So what I'm thinking is we have kind of a list page where we can build a list of our fitness reports, and then we need an input page where we can kind of say, hey, this is my fitness report, this is where I'm at with things, and then we need to be able to click on each fitness report. So either that needs to kind of be a modal or it needs to be its own page. So we could get away with either 2 pages in a modal or 3 pages altogether. But this is going to be our Next.js application. This is our main page.tsx. So if I delete that and just say hello world, boom, we should see that pop up here on the right, and there it is. So perfect. Let's go ahead and go into our sidebar here. I'm going to right click. I'm going to make a components folder, and we're going to start with a base wrapper. And what this wrapper is going to be, if I do RFCE, this wrapper is going to be and I'll move this export default up here. This wrapper is going to accept the children, and it's just going to center everything in our application. So I'll show you what that looks like here is children, and we'll define the types for the children with React node. And the children are going to go here, not children, but children. And if we go to the page.tsx and now import base wrapper as a component and wrap our hello world, we should see that nothing's changed so far. So in our page.tsx, in our base wrapper, this is what we should have, and nothing's changed. But the good news is now in our base wrapper, if we want to start changing things, we can. So if I say class name equals, let me actually close out of base.tsx. Guys, and the code will be in the description below as well. So let's do width-full, and I'll show background.red 100. You can see I can now affect kind of this page TSX, this page.tsx through the base wrapper. And whatever is in between the base wrapper is going to be our children. So that's how I'm kind of manipulating the home page. And the reason why I'm doing that is because we just want to have a simple wrapper. I'll delete the background red. We just want to have a simple wrapper that kind of centers everything. And this is going to be the command I use, just so we can easily go to this. And this is just going to be our orientation wrapper that is going to exist around certain components, maybe a list or something like that. And we know exactly how it's going to work. So anytime I import this component, I can go ahead and just import a little div, say hello. It'll start right there. And then we have our list. Maybe it'll be fitness report, right? Boom. And you can see, you can hear the water in the background getting poured for me. So you can see our fitness report, it starts stacking up on itself. So if we have a trainer number or something, 1, 2, 3, boom. I already know how this base wrapper component is going to work. So this was just to show you guys real quick, briefly, how this is going to work. But we do need to start thinking about input fields and validation fields, and then also our table. So what I'm going to use for the table is going to be a component library called shadcn. So I'll just go to Google shadcn. And if I can open up this browser a little or expand the page a little bit and go to the docs, we want to go to installation right here and click Next.js. And I want to skip the first step because we've already created our Next.js project. So we'll skip to the second step, which is npx shadcn create, shadcn-ui at latest init. So what I'll do is open up a new terminal so I can keep my server running, and I'll pop that npx command in there, and it'll give us a bunch of configuration options. Basically, what I'm going to do for these configuration options is just press enter all the way through, and it should install everything. So this is how to just install the library initially. Next.js, I have a few videos on it, guys. So if you haven't seen those, or excuse me, shadcn, I have a few videos on it. If you haven't seen those, I highly recommend checking them out. But what I can do now is go to the components or look at the components on the side here, either or, and you can see the components that we want to use. So the one I'm going to steal immediately is going to be this table. So there should be a table one, boom, right here. And how it works is shadcn gives you this command for all the components. So if we click another one, it'll say npx, here's your component or command that you want to put into the terminal. So let's use our table. Let's grab this command. So each component has a unique command, and it'll auto import our table to a components directory with a UI in it. So boom, here comes our table, and there it is right there for us. And it auto imports it, so we can get out of that. We actually don't need to look at it. If we want to customize it, we can go in there and add a few things. But now if I want to use the table, it shows us how to use it right here in the usage. So I can click this and we can import the table like this. It shows us the imports, and then it shows us actually how to use the table. So I can come here into the base wrapper and I can drop that table in, and let's see what it pops up for us. Oh, and you can see that the background changed on us. That's how we know we installed shadcn properly, is just the configuration of light and dark mode. If we go to our CSS file, we should see that it's either the CSS file or the tailwind config, but the fact that it's in light mode now lets us know that we installed shadcn correctly. But you can see right away we do have this table, and we can actually build this into its own component. So I'm going to take this table actually out of base wrapper, just that same head to or table to table command. Let's take that out of base wrapper. Let's go to our components folder. And I know we have the UI folder of the table, but I want to build kind of our own handcrafted version of this. So I'll say base table TSX, and I'll come in here, RFCE for the quick React snippet, and I'll drop in that table command. Obviously, we have all these red underlines. We didn't import the imports we need. So let's go. And guys, I see there's a red underline on the page as well. Don't worry about it. Not a big deal. The only underline is because we don't have children into the base wrapper. So now we can import base table and we should have everything here. And base table is now within a div that we can kind of command. We can manipulate this table over here. I feel a lot more comfortable. Let me show you guys kind of the way I like to build front end components. Let me pull up our Lucid chart. So here's our front end. I have to do this kind of pattern because it just feels really maintainable. Is if we want to build a page, I don't want to build my components to that page. Let's say we have our first page. This is going to be our input page, right, for the form. And then let's say we have another page. This will be our list page or our table page, if you will. I don't want to have my components exist in the page like this. I don't want a table here. I want the table to be in its own component over here, right? So table, I'll just say component. And I want my page basically to be created with a bunch of components. And then those components together kind of build the page. And then I can maybe steal one of these components over here. Maybe this page, maybe it has different components, but maybe one or two of them overlap. And I like my components to construct the page. And I just like my page file to say, oh, no, we need our components layout like this. Okay, cool. We'll make that component layout happen with the page. So I'd like to use the page right here as kind of my layout deal. Maybe if you need a sub layout, if we want to build a, let's say there's a sidebar page, right? And we want to have like a list here. I would let the page kind of handle the layout of majority of that. I would just have my components be separate from these things. I hope that kind of makes sense. But I don't want my page to say, oh, here's my list and sidebar. I don't want to do that because it becomes a little bit harder to maintain. And let's say you have a form and you use this form over here also. It's just easier to let the page kind of handle the layout, the Lego blocks, and then the components are just the Lego blocks that build our pages. So I've found that pattern to be very, very successful for me. So we're going to try to emulate that as best as we can. So that's what we've done here in our page.tsx. This is just going to be our page. And let's go back to our base table. This is just one of our components on the page. So if I say background red 100, we should be able to see that it's this little square right here. So let's kind of dummy up some fitness report data real quick. And this will probably, well, I guess this should be fitness reports, right? Because it's a list of them. So, but this should be pretty much our episode 2, I think, for a lot of it. And let's go ahead and say fitness report ID. You can see it already popped up with fitness report ID 1. We have fitness reports at maybe it's some name of like Greg's Health or something. I don't know. I don't know a fitness report name, guys. So maybe we'll just leave it to fitness report 1. We have a report date. Looks like we have this report status. I guess kind of you're always going to get it completed, but whatever, we'll add it. And then we want fitness report. We want a few other things. We want fitness report. Maybe trainer or something, or training plan. How about that? Maybe you can assign a certain training plan to a report, but then we need the actual training plan. So then we would need to build data for a training plan, which could work. Guys, I'm building this together with you. So let's kind of think about just the structure of what are things that our fitness report will need. So fitness report, I guess training plan 1, but we're going to make this a array. And then in this array is going to be objects. So we want workout, right? Maybe like push-ups, sets 3, weight 0, perfect. And let's build some more pull-ups, squats. Here we go. And we'll do weights, maybe 135 or something like that. So we have some workouts, and maybe we could say fitness report workouts. Maybe we can get one more. Fiddle, boom, bench press, perfect. Okay, so that'll work for that. And then we need also a trainer, like who's training us in this fitness report. So fitness reports, trainer 1. Maybe it's Sarah Summers, whoever that is. Fitness report name. And then we also need who does this fitness report belong to, right? So fitness reports, maybe that is the name, right? So maybe it's Ryan Pags, or we'll use Brad Smith as the name. Just some generic names. And then I want to have just one more piece of data here. Fitness reports, I guess, yeah, maybe we'll do it like this. Guys, that's probably honestly enough. We can get as extravagant as we want. I have this much larger object built out on the left here, actually. Well, hold on, this is my email. But yesterday I built it out in ChatGPT to have a really big object. So we can keep extrapolating on it, but the more stuff we add. Oh, let's see. Guys, ChatGPT is fantastic for so much stuff, but right here. So I have this really big object built out for us that we could steal from. Fitness report goals, kind of all this stuff, fitness report projects. Kind of just went back and forth to build it out, but honestly, I think we can always add more stuff. I think right now this is plenty of material. So I'm actually going to take out the report status even. Let's just keep it this is enough material to work with. So we're going to need to build a reporting field handles the report, and then we also need a training plan kind of selector or something. I haven't thought it fully through, but we'll figure it out together. Let's build out one more fitness report. Let's see if ChatGPT will help us. Maybe we could just start it off. Report ID 2, fitness report 2, Brad Smith again, maybe. Boom, perfect. Okay. And maybe this is another person. So we have Tyler Jones. Awesome. So I just wanted to dummy up some data for us so we can actually build out this table component fully. And here I'm going to do that right here. So we have our table caption. Let's change it real quick. So a list of your recent workouts, or I'll say fitness reports. And we can change some of these headers in a moment, but let's kind of get our fitness reports in the table body first. So what I'm going to do is make an object around the table row, and I'll say fitness reports.map, and I need to use the fitness report, and I'll give an index arrow function into this, and I can open it up with an object. This is what it should roughly look like, and our table row needs a key, and the key will be the index, or we could use the fitness report.id. Fitness report.fitness.id. Why is this acting all funky? Oh, we need a return statement. So let's try that here. Boom. Okay, awesome. So that has roughly worked. You can see that we have two things being printed out now. So we know that it's receiving this data. Guys, I'm going to remove this background red. It looks really ugly. I was just doing that to show that it's like one of our little Lego blocks. So, okay, let's get our things in here. So fitness report ID, let's change our report. I don't want it to be a number. Actually, I want it to be a string. So we'll say fitness report FR0001. This one will be FR002 or FR-002, I should say. And then awesome, we can start popping in our variables right here. So I could say, open a bracket. We'll say fitness report dot fitness report ID, and that should change it to our reports, FR0001. And then let's start doing our other variables. So I did fitness report dot, and then let's see if we have the name of it. So I can do class name. We can say font dash bold for this, or semi bold. That works perfectly fine. Guys, I'll go to the parent div real quick. Let's do with full. Let's see if that gives us a little more space. Looks like it's not. Maybe at the table if I do that. And this might be where we have to go into the component and actually adjust some things. So we'll do that in a moment, but let's get a few more items here in the fitness report. You can see it's just not taking up all the space we want it to. So where the credit card is, I'll move this to fitness report. Let's see. Looks we have client, I suppose, Brad Smith, and then we could have. I guess maybe we could put a price on it. So we have a trainer. Let's add one more field here. So I'm gonna swap this line for this line. We want one more table cell here. And we'll say fitness reports. Oh, we do need the reporting date. So we need a few of these. Sorry, guys, my nose is running. Okay, this is awesome, though. So boom, we have the reporting date. Let's actually put the reporting date where the reporting ID is, guys, because the ID will know on the back end. So we'll just put a date right here for the front end for the clients. And finally, this is going to be the training plan, but we need to obviously map it. So for now, I'll just say length to show the number of workouts within the training plan. So let's say there's one more workout in this training plan. Say workout deadlifts. Perfect. So there should be 5 right there. And let's adjust our headers that they match the date fields. So let's do that. Okay. We'll say first one is date. Second one is report. And third one is, we actually need one more, say trainer right there. And this will be number of workouts. Awesome. So it's coming together pretty good, guys. Nice. Okay, now we just need to clean this up, and let's get out of this super bright white mode. It's not the best. So let's see if we could click on this table element, or if we go to our UI library and find our table component, so table.tsx. Let's see if we could adjust this at all. So we have border this. If I say width dash full, what would that do? If I go to base table, that's going to be the table body still. We need the table. Here we go. So with full, it is with full. Interesting. And it receives the class name prop as well. So interesting. Why is it being constricted is the question. Is it because the base wrapper? It might be the base wrapper doing flex. I bet that is actually it. Let's see. And it was. Okay, so let's maybe think of how are we going to do this then? How are we going to do this? Flex one, maybe? Can we also do flex call? Would that still work? So I'll think about how to do that, but this works great for right now. And let's go to our page.tsx. Let's go ahead and get rid of the divs around the base table. And in the base wrapper, or actually I think in our layout, we want to do some background stuff. So I'm going to remove this class name. Let's say BG. Say if we do black, should be black. If we do text white, should inherit through to our other reports. So I actually don't want to do black, but I do want to do a near just color, of course. So we'll say 0. We could probably pick up a darker color somewhere else real quick. Actually, I'll just use my color dropper where I have one pulled up right here. So we will pop that into the layout component. That should give us a background color. Nice. Okay, guys. So that'll actually give us our first kind of front end component. We do have a little bit of direction now because we have our page component, right? We have our table. And within this table, let me close out of this. We have a little bit of guidance on the data we're going to need. So this is going to help us a lot because when we build our form, kind of in our next page, and then when we build the backend, we know what data to query from the backend. So when we start to build the next things, and where's our Lucid chart? So we've done a little bit of this. We've configured a little bit of the front end. I think the next episode we can either continue building the front end things, build a form, or we could kind of dive into the backend stuff. So I think we'll dive a little bit into the backend stuff, and we'll do the form validation on the tail end because I do want to give you guys some API integration knowledge and some Prisma knowledge like right away, right now. So let's do that in episode 3. I will see you there.